So today we're looking at page 115 of our notes. And on page 115, we're actually going to start talking about animal behaviors. And where do those behaviors come from? Where do animals get the information or the knowledge on how to act that way? Those of you that have already taken some psychology here at Butler will also see that when we start talking about learned behaviors, a lot of that psychology that you've talked about, a lot of types of conditioning that you've talked about will come into play here. But before we talk about some learned behaviors, we do have to talk about what's known as innate behaviors. And innate behaviors are going to be behaviors that are coded by your genes or that animals, such as even humans, are able to do immediately by instinct. So a lot of times innate behaviors are also going to be known as instincts. Now we really want to think about how are behaviors beneficial to an animal? How are behaviors adaptations that help them survive? And so just keep in mind that when you see an adaptation is going to be something that's inherited. For most behaviors, there's going to be some sort of DNA or some sort of programming inside of you that's going to make you want to respond that way. Now, how you respond could change over time as you learn more. But initially, all behaviors are going to be instincts or innate. And then later on, that can change to a learned behavior. And here it says that animals can sense their environment and respond and are capable of behaviors. The stimulus, and you do want to underline or actually circle this word, the stimulus is a change in the environment that causes a response in the animal. For example, a loud clap or a loud bang will cause you to turn and look. The stimulus will be the loud noise. Your response or your action will be turning and looking in that direction. Or even sometimes if you hear a loud bang, you can kind of shake or bend and try to move away. That's also an instinct. So that's also a stimulus. Again, the noise, the banging. And then moving away would be the response. Now, innate behaviors are coded for by genes, and just keeping in mind that the genes are your DNA. And innate behaviors or instincts will require no practice. You'll immediately know how to do this. For example, spiders are a really interesting example of an innate behavior. All spiders will instinctively or innately know how to spin a very intricate web. And if you know anything about spiders, the web and the way that they actually weave the web together makes it really strong and really sturdy. And all the different designs that they can create are not something that they've learned. It's actually just from instinct that they're able to do that. They can be seen at birth, such as babies, when you're begging for food or suckling to get milk. That's another innate behavior. Also in animals, we have some behaviors that are known as taxis behaviors. This is kind of similar to the idea of tropisms that we saw with plants. For plants, we saw three types of tropism. Phototropism, moving towards light. Gravitropism, growing away from gravity or towards gravity. Roots growing towards gravity. And we also had thigmotropism, growing or responding to touch, wrapping around something. For animals, we have what's known as taxis behaviors instead of tropisms. And this is going to be movement toward or away from a stimulus. And they can include chemotaxis, moving towards or away from a chemical, and phototaxis, towards or away from light. behaviors in animals can be seen are actually called courtship behaviors. When you're courting someone in the olden day, that meant you were trying to date them or you're taking them out. And so with other animals, we do see some courtship behaviors, such as birds singing very specific songs to attract a mate. And even a bee doing what's known as a waggle dance. We'll see a video of this later in class, to actually attract a mate. For bees, what's interesting is that they can also perform what's known as a waggle dance. They'll actually wiggle their little thorax and kind of move in a specific pattern, also to indicate signs of where food can be found. Now in other animals, you also have what's known as territoriality, or wanting to defend your space. This can occur among many different organisms and can include lots of aggressive behavior, such as the betta fish, the fighting fish, show some very aggressive behaviors. They'll kind of flare out their gills and kind of puff up a little, and sometimes they'll even attack. For other animals, behaviors can occur in rhythms or in very certain or specific patterns. This can be a response in response to temperature or changes in seasons, so animals having seasonal behaviors. This will include migration, geese flying south during the winter, hibernation, bears eating a lot during the fall and sleeping through most of winter, and also estivation. For estivation, my pen isn't working right now, so you'll want to write this in. But for estivation, this means that an animal is responding to heat. And actually, a lot of times, some animals, some salamanders and some types of fish or snake will actually bury themselves deeper into the ground to stay cool during the hot summer days. But with that, that's actually going to be all of our instinctive behaviors. And so you just want to go back over, make sure you understand the different types of instinctive behaviors and know an example for each of them. And that's going to be all for our notes today.